Hi everybody, my name is Caden.
I'm Jaden.
I'm Jason.
And we are Yahuwah's our YouTube channel, and we are going over the words of Messiah Yahushua with the book of Natsarim.
Yep, we thank you guys for joining us. We are appreciate you guys, and we thank you. And here we are. All right, these are the words of our Messiah, and a few people. Where are you going, Kate?
27.
Actually, we're on 20. Aren't we on? I don't think we're on. Yeah, we're on 29.
29.
Yeah, we're on 29. Yeah, and so these are the words of our Messiah, and there's been some people that say this is blasphemy, this goes against the Torah, that it is breaking the Besorah, and we will address those. I will address those in the next day or so, because I want to go over a larger comment from a gal, and I believe without a shadow of a doubt that these are the words of our Messiah, that you have to have the Ruach HaKodesh to understand exactly what you're seeing and what you're hearing. And when you hear this based upon what the Torah says, then it's amazing. And the one thing that, if you think something goes against the Torah, you're at the right place. You're at the Yahoo and the Torah channel, where you will find every Shabbat, we will do exactly what they did back in the days, where we go and we read the Torah. We read it. We read the laws, statutes, and commandments of our Creator every single seventh day. We join you guys. We would ask you guys to join us if you would like to. That's where we read them. We read the laws, statutes, and commands. And if you understand who we are as a channel and what we represent, everything that we read goes through the litmus test of the Torah. And we've said some stuff in here. There was one single thing that was different than in the Torah. And it talked about when, and it had nothing, Messiah wasn't saying this. Messiah didn't say these words. And so it was part of the story. And the one thing that it talks about that is different than the Torah is when it was talking about bread. And if you were starving, in the Torah, we have a command that says you can literally enter a man's field. You're not supposed to completely harvest your entire field. You're supposed to leave the corners of it, and you're supposed to leave it for the orphans, widows, and lepers, the people who are starving, the people that have no way to feed. And you have the ability to go into a field, at least in the Holy Land, and you had the ability to go in there and feed yourself. And that was something our Creator has given to us. And this one was talking about not being able to go into someone else's field. That is different from the Torah. So that is the only thing I have seen so far that could possibly sway anything. But yet, guys, you have to understand, in every single book, there's always a discrepancy. There's always stuff. There's stuff in Luke. There's stuff in Matthew. There's stuff with the genealogies in Matthew. There's stuff all over. And so this is why you need the Ruach HaKodesh. You need to understand what our Messiah says. And it's very clear when you read this where it's coming from. So let's begin. 29. Yahushua then left and returned to the house of Kepha and said, and when he arrived, found several Parashim waiting outside. They said, we hear you have much wisdom. What is your basis of your teaching? What sign can you give of your authority, or what proof so we can believe? Moshe provided heavenly bread when our people starved in the wilderness, and by his deeds we know him for a true prophet. A disciple said, he has just healed 4 people. But the Parashim replied, there are others who heal. This power is not unique in him. Then Yahushua said, must you have proof and be given signs to believe? Surely this would take all merit from belief. As for Moshe, I assure you, he did not provide bread from heaven when he fed those who starved in the wilderness. Through me, Yahuwah will send down the bread of heaven, which nourishes the world. Therefore, when working to support yourselves, do not overlook the need for the bread of heaven, which nourishes the Ruach. For man cannot live by mortal bread alone. Strive less for perishable food and more for the food of eternal life.
So all right. We've never heard that much. We always hear about like the bread, like you can't live bread alone and stuff like that. But we never heard the whole thing and why he said that really.
Yeah. It adds way more to it, right? And I thought it was very interesting that he says, understand, rest assured, you He did not provide bread from
Right,
heaven.
it wasn't Moshe. Moshe was just there.
But yeah, Moshe was the messenger. Moshe didn't send this down.
Moshe didn't control the bread, the manna.
Yeah, and it was Yah's plan for all of this stuff. And I found that very interesting that those would have been fighting words right there, right, to those guys, because Moshe to them would have been absolutely everything.
And up a little above, they said healing is not unique. Like, I wonder how often they actually healed someone.
Yeah, and absolutely. They've seen probably healers before and physicians, but as far as, they were throwing them under the bus completely. And 34, Yahushua said, I will bring the bread of life. Whoever partakes of it will never hunger. I bring the water of eternity, and whoever drinks of it will never thirst. All I am intended to receive from above, I will share with everyone who comes to me. The power I have comes from heaven and is used not for my own ends, but to serve the purpose of He who gave it. There's a Trinity breaker right there, folks. Again, a Trinity breaker. You do not have the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit all in one, and you don't sit here and talk like this, right? Messiah says the power that He has comes from heaven and is not used for my own ends, but to serve the purpose of He who gave it, right? And then he continues on. His will is that I should waste no particle of what I have been given, but must account for it when my work is ended. For it is the will of He who invested me with authority and power, that whoever has faith in me and believes in my cause, putting my teachings into practice, will enjoy immortality in glory. Wow, that is a huge promise right there. That is a huge right? And this is what we know of, right? If we believe that our Messiah was the one who is our Melchizedek priest, right? He's the one who came, and he by His blood we have been bought, and he was an investment for us. And anyone have anything on this?
No.
I mean, it's the same stuff that we've always heard. One of the Parashim said to Yahushua, why do so many flock to hear you speak instead of going to the temples and places of assembly? Why do they have to listen to someone speaking on the streets and hillsides when they could listen to those armed with the knowledge of the Torah?
It sounds like jealousy. It sounds like conceit.
Yeah.
That sort of like, why don't they come back to us? Why aren't
Well, that is the thing, is these guys, when you were a learned Pharisee or Sadducee, you were in their eyes above everybody else because you were learned, you knew how to read, you knew how to decipher the Torah, and most of these people back in the day didn't know how to read. They couldn't write, they couldn't do any of this stuff, and so the only place they could go was the temple to get this information. 37. Yahushua answered, I too am surprised so many seek to learn righteousness from me. Maybe they come because I am among those disinherited. But before telling them what to do, put yourselves in their place. Can it be they find my teachings more sustaining and closer to their hearts? I thought that was interesting.
they can relate to it better than what the Pharisees teach.
Yeah, and one of the things that gal said that when she said this book was like, oh, this is like some new age occultic stuff, is she said that this book makes Messiah a human. Like it makes him he has the desires and the same the same
temptations,
the same stuff.
And that's where the amazing miracle of Yahushua comes from, right? Because if you just send down a messenger that's already powerful, and then just dies right for our sins, it wouldn't have the same effect as it would as a human dying for us.
Yeah, and if you didn't feel pain, then what good would fasting 40 days and 40 nights be? I mean, we know messengers don't eat.
He was hungry. He wanted bread, and John's like, "Hey, you can turn that to rock to bread."
Right. It was his human nature that. He could have turned the bread or the rock into bread, and he could have done any of this stuff. And we learn from this book that Messiah had to learn to control this kind of stuff. So let's continue on. 38. Many of the Yahudim were angry at the teachings of Yahushua, for he said, "I have the true bread of life and of heaven." They said, "Is this not the Yahushua we know, son of Joseph and Miriam, who are just ordinary people?" Yahushua once said to them, "Do not say things behind my back when you can say them to my face. I will draw no one away from your own teachings unless something greater inclines them towards me. But if it does, they are on the way to immortality. The prophets promised your forefathers that their descendants would receive instructions from Elohim. So can you not believe these things? Therefore, anyone Yahuwah inclines towards me hears me speak with his voice." Okay, what is this? this
Basically, he didn't want them to talk behind his back because they were always like plotting against him, like saying evil things. He's like, "Oh, this dude's evil. This dude's a bad person." And he's like, "Say it to me. Say it to me if you have something to say against me." And then he's like, these people, they want to hear my teachings.
Yeah, and this is why this book is obviously the words of Messiah, right? You can hear the Torah through his voice. You can hear the way of the Creator through his voice. There's nothing is new here. When we read the Torah, this is exactly the Torah made flesh. This is an amazing reading. 40. The people who joined the crowds about Yahushua filled him with compassion, for they were so anxious to find the deliverer. They seemed pathetically helpless and lost, like sheep without a shepherd. Yahushua said to his disciples, "The seed planted was good, and there is a rich harvest ready for the cutting. But alas, the harvesters are few. Therefore, the overseer must be requested to send more men." We've heard this before, right? The same thing. And what is it? What does this mean right out of the gate, guys?
It means that there's a lot of people, right, that need to be taught, right? But there's few teachers.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is if you guys know Torah, every time that you walk outside the door, you are able to help people, right? The majority of the world is blind. The majority of the world walks in darkness because they do not have the light of the Torah, and the light of them are Messiah. The Christians will have the light of our Messiah, but they do not have the light of the Torah, and because of that, Yahushua says they will be told to depart from them. And so, I don't know, let's continue on. 41. 42, actually. The following day, Yahushua was seated among the trees near the house of Kepha, and with him were many disciples. And one said to him, "Master, since the days of our fathers, many slaves have come into the land, great numbers having no slaves, being forced into brigandage, for otherwise they would starve. Are these men evildoers?" Yahushua replied, "What they do is not good, therefore must be evil. But through their wrongdoing may be great in the eyes of men, it is small in the eyes of Elohim compared with the evil done by those who stand behind the deed. Many, blameless in the eyes of men, will not escape the judgment of eternity."
So what happened here? They had slaves, right? I think it's people that like came in as like poor people and they became slaves.
Yeah, and so he's talking about, "Master, since the days of our fathers, many slaves have come into the land. Great numbers having no slaves." So
I don't know what brigandage is. I think that would fit.
being forced into I think that's into slave labor. For otherwise they would starve. And it's probably like the days of Pharaoh when they had to hand over all their gold, all their land, all their everything, and they ended up becoming slaves in Egypt. But whatever it was, whatever the slavery is, Messiah's answer is that it is not good and therefore must be evil. And, that's something as well. People are like, well, what is good and what is evil? Well, you can look at the fruits of anything, and if it is not good, then it's evil, right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's just it's either good or evil. 44. The disinherited say, "All things will change when Yahuwah wills it. But I tell you, the Father will not do the work of his sons. The deliverer comes to take men to their places of labor and will ease their burdens there, but he cannot undertake the whole of the task. He will initiate the rule of Elohim, but cannot force it upon men. He will teach them to judge the underprivileged justly and deal harshly with the arrogant. The rich will be less rich and the poor less poor. He will point the feet of men towards the path of perfection, but cannot carry them along it. Earthly kings can drive men to fulfill their tasks, but no one can be driven along the path to glory. Only those who guide and lead can take men this way."
So basically, he says since he's a deliverer, he's basically saying that he can set people on the path, but men can't.
Yeah, and the one thing that I found very interesting about this particular verse here is that the Father will not do the work of his sons, which a lot of times we don't understand why things happen or how things happen, but our Creator puts together his forces, and it is through his forces that he gets his work done. And he's looking for soldiers who will do the works of the Shemaim, the works of the kingdom. And, that's why he's talking that there's not a lot of harvesters. We need to be this light. So, and that's the thing is if you don't think you have a place in the kingdom, simply reach out to your neighbor, simply reach out to a stranger, simply talk to them, give them a hug, tell them about the Torah, tell them about the truth, all of those things. Okay, 45. I bring the light, and the light is a good tree bearing beneficial fruit. But fruit on the tree of darkness is consistent with conditions about its roots. For all trees are rooted in darkness, but the good tree transmutes the things of darkness into things of light. So, you guys want to take a stab at that? Essentially, I think what this is talking about is that we all were born in darkness. We all are our roots are in darkness, but it is out of that darkness that a tree comes out, and right at the top of the tree never sees what those roots see. But we have derooted a few trees, and the roots on these things, the stumps and the roots are just enormous, and they go forever. And I guess that's the thing is we need to be out of the darkness and into the light. A disciple said to Yahushua, "Master, you say harsh things about the rulers and those in high places, but do not seek to arm us against them. Surely the day of arming comes soon." Yahushua answered, "A physician is called to treat the sickness, and a healthy man does not require his attentions. The good in men I strengthen but leave untouched. It is the evil I seek out to destroy. Were it not for the strength of those who govern, there would be no peace in the land. Man would strive with man, and there would be murder and pillage everywhere. It would be like the sea, where big fish feed on the small, and nothing is there to prevent it. Therefore, if murder and robbery are kept from your door, pay due homage to those who stand guard." That's a huge thing. What it says, it talks about government, right? I mean, that's essentially a government thing, and it's talking about that if there was no control mechanism, that it would just be chaos. It would be like the oceans where the big fish eat all the other ones, and nobody can stop any of the big fish from taking out all the little fish. Okay, anyone have anything?
No, not really, but just thank the people who protect you.
Yeah, thank the people that protect you. If an evil king be guarded by 1,000 good men, should these be slain to kill the king? Is it not best first to take the good men away from the service with the king, bringing them into your own ranks? Those who serve evil through powerful and wily are cowards and hide behind the arms of better men. Therefore, by killing the brave men, are you not adding evil to evil? No, first bring the good and brave men to your side, and then let events happen as they will. Now, I'm not exactly sure what they're talking about here. I think they're talking about either killing these 1,000 men or trying to sway the 1,000 men over.
I think he says to save the good men and let the evil people die.
Yeah. So if you are able to sway the good men over there, sway them before you go and try to kill 1,000 men, I suppose.
General Yahushua was giving us some war tactics or something.
Yeah, he is. A young disciple who became an apostle said, "You speak about bread, unlike other bread, but the meaning is not clear to me. Tell me again about it." Yahushua said, "I will tell you with certainty. He who follows my cause wholeheartedly will gain eternal life. For I have the bread of immortality. The bread I give forms part of my being, and I share it for the good of the world. Many have the grains, but these are yet to be ground and baked. Unless, therefore, you can partake of my substance and become like me, you cannot gain immortality and glory. Yet what I do, you can also do. What I have become, you can become. I do not ask men to follow a path I would not travel myself. Neither is there anything in me not inherent in you. As I am the true food of men, and the power of life flowing in me is their true drink. I come with special gifts and authority from above, clothed with the living Ruach, and I express life as I do because of the powers within me. So it will be with those who partake of my bread." Does that make sense to you guys at all?
I think so.
You guys clear? Caden, you with me at all?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Okay, not getting much out of you, bro. Okay, 52. Many of those with Yahushua could not hold these things in their hearts, for they were not easily understood. But one recorded them. Some, hearing these teachings, said, "These words are not easy to understand and difficult to accept." Yahushua said, "So you find difficulty in accepting what I say. Suppose you could see me communicating with my place of origin. Would you believe me then? But the eyes of the flesh cannot see things intended only for the eyes of the Ruach."
So basically, we can't see the spirit around. We can't see more than what we see here.
And again, this is a Trinity breaker, right? Is he communicating with himself? Is he up top talking to himself? And he's like, that's not it. The Son and the Father have a life, have a world, have a kingdom. They had a place before us. We weren't. They came long before us. Where they came from, I don't know, but I know where we came from. 54. Only the Ruach contains the power of life. Did I get the last one?
Yeah.
Okay. Only the Ruach contains the power of life, and the flesh of itself can see or do nothing. The words I have spoken concern only the life-holding Ruach, and I have not referred to worldly matters. But still, you do not understand. I know you are perplexed and confused by my teachings. That is why I said something greater must speak internally to incline you towards me. From this day, many disciples and followers no longer heeded him. It is written in the holy books of the Yahudim, in the days of unrighteousness, I will send forth a firebrand to consume the world with fire. Also, then each man shall know the fullness of his own nature, and his reward shall be according to his measure.
Basically, it is like spiritual fire.
Yeah, and your reward is going to be what you have measured out. Is going to be with what we have put to the test. And if we are anti-Torah, if we are anti our Creator, then we are going to be measured very bad stuff, and we don't want that. And this is what our family is trying to prevent. Our family is trying to shine this light to those who are willing to see it. And many people don't want it. Many people reject this. You have a ton of people on this channel, and you can see the amount of views of people that actually care about anything here. And so it's not, on a channel that has 26,000 some subs or something, it's just out of control. There's only 50 views on things of this nature. And so it is very small that the people just don't care about this at all. And so if you do care about it, consider yourself one of the very, very few, and consider yourself on the good road, because the kingdom is coming. Our Creator is going to send his son down, and he's coming to get us. And I don't know if it'll be my lifetime or whenever it is, but we need to be ready. And you will not be ready forsaking the Torah. You will not be ready living with the world. It is time to get your lives in order. All right, everybody. Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. Shalom.